Facebook changes its mind on cutting off users of WhatsApp. AirTag has been taken apart and repurposed, and more from today's tech news. Apple only released the AirTag 10 days ago, and since then a user has actually taken the AirTag apart and rebuilt it as a thinner card that actually fits into the wallet. And that's actually quite interesting, and hopefully it will prompt Apple to release other versions of the AirTag to fit in the wallet more comfortably in the future. Now, there are some people out there who are saying that it does fit in this current form into their wallet without much issue. However, a lot of users, myself included, would rather like a card type that just slots in instead of one of your normal cards, and then that way it's easier to research it on there. Other outlets are saying that it's frighteningly easy to stalk using the item tracker, but that's always been the case with trackers in the past. I see a lot of people out there promoting how insecure it is at the moment, but like I say, trackers have been out there for a long time, and not many people have actually batted an eyelid over the tracking consequences at the moment. It's only now the fact that Apple have actually released it, because it's such a big company that it's in people's mind at the moment, and Apple have some contingencies in place which are more than any other ones, such as Tile and things like that. So it's interesting to see how this will play out. When Facebook first purchased WhatsApp, it removed the need to purchase the application. It then said it wasn't going to sell users any ads or anything like that, and then they quickly backtracked on that and started selling user data in order to obviously keep the app profitable. And then it started introducing new features and things like that, and over the time it slowly eroded its initial intent. And over the years I've used several messaging applications. WhatsApp was a primary one with family members and work colleagues and things like that. And then Facebook decided to go ahead and they wanted everybody to agree to new terms and conditions, which then obviously sparked a lot of outrage because it said it was going to start monitoring chats, it turns out, with businesses, and they were going to then be able to sell that data to target you with ads again. So obviously that caused a lot of uproar. People were then saying, well, basically, if you can snoop on those chats, how can we know that it's truly encrypted private chats as well? And so they flocked to other apps like Signal and Telegram and things like that. And myself personally, I've definitely gone out there and said that people should get rid of WhatsApp, and I stand by that. I've actually left that platform a couple of months back now, and I primarily use Telegram for contacts with family and friends, and just basically because the interface is better than Signal, and a lot of my family and friends didn't like using Signal. Now, I personally had no problem with Signal, and I still have that application, but like I say, Telegram seems to be the main choice. So as people flocked over to those, Facebook panicked and put a hold on the original date that they were going to do the changes, that if you didn't agree to those, then your account would be closed. And then basically Facebook said, right, we're going to delay that just so people can understand it a bit better. And now finally they've come up and they've now decided that they're not going to go ahead with the whole delete your account if you don't agree by a set date. Instead, they're going to now have users to have a degraded experience if you don't agree with the new terms and conditions. They're now saying that basically if you don't agree to the terms by May the 15th, then your experience will be completely degraded to what it is currently. And so basically still trying to bully users into on there as well. I can't blame Facebook for wanting to monetize the app. At the end of the day, it paid nearly $20 billion to acquire it several years ago. However, Facebook have been shown numerous times to have problems in protecting users' data. There's been several breaches, and like I say, they want to sell user data. Now, I do appreciate that if you're using a free application, you are trading on there. But at the end of the day, chats that are supposedly to be encrypted, we shouldn't be bullied into agreeing to terms and conditions. And I'm not a massive fan of Facebook. I use it for groups that I'm in, and that's about it. I much prefer Twitter, Slack, and even Reddit over Facebook. So it's interesting to see that these new tactics are now there. Then, like I say, they're not going to now fully ban your account as they first said, so they have backtracked on that. But they're hoping now that by degrading the experience, it's just going to force users to go ahead and agree to the new terms and conditions anyway. And I still stand by my original thing. If you want a better messaging experience, then definitely check out Telegram or Signal. Now, if you haven't been following the news, YouTube and Roku have been having a bit of a disagreement over the renewal of their YouTube TV application, and it's led to both sides claiming that the other side is being unreasonable. Now, obviously, we don't have access to behind-the-scenes communication between the two companies, and they're obviously going to disagree with each other. As a result, Roku have actually removed YouTube TV application off their platform. However, as always, YouTube are not actually standing by and letting that go. It's obviously owned by Google, so they've got a plan in place. And they've put out a blog post, which we will read to you now. It says, while we roll out this new feature, we also want to give you an update on where things are standing in negotiations with Roku. As we know that's on many of our members' minds. We're still working to come to an agreement with Roku to ensure that continued access to YouTube TV for our mutual customers. As of right now, existing YouTube TV members still have access to the app on Roku devices. We are also in discussion with our partners to secure free streaming devices in case YouTube TV members face any access issues on Roku. Separately, we are also in ongoing long-term conversations with Roku to clarify that new devices meet our technical requirements. This certification process exists to ensure a consistent and high-quality YouTube experience across different devices, including Google's own, so you know how to navigate the app and what to expect. We'll continue our conversations with Roku on certification in good faith, with the goal of advocating our mutual customers. As always, our top priority is offering a positive experience, and we'll continue working to make YouTube TV the best-in-class experience. So what they are now introducing instead is a new feature that gives you access to YouTube TV from within the YouTube app. So even though Roku have removed the YouTube TV app off their device for new users, you just simply go into the YouTube, and at the bottom there is an option so you can actually access YouTube TV from there. On now to things that I've been reading this week. It's a book called Alibaba, the House That Jack Ma Built. And this book provides a fascinating insight into how much change and development China has gone through over the decades. It's not an actual autobiography of Jack Ma's life, but more about how he built his company Alibaba. And I never actually used Alibaba myself personally. I've used some Chinese sites in the past to get some products which I've done reviews on, but it's been an interesting reflection of how a company such as Alibaba has been so prominent in China, given obviously the rise over there of consumerism and how it actually affects us, not just in the UK, but in the US as well. And if you are interested in the things that go on behind the scenes, and especially if you're interested in the ongoing politics, especially how Apple use China and Foxconn and things like that, I definitely recommend this book. It's not massive, and it shouldn't take you more than a week to read it if you read it at a slow pace. And finally, if you've been following us on social media, you will know that we've actually purchased a Mac Mini M1. And on top of that, I went ahead and purchased a new monitor, and I'm going to be doing a separate podcast on that one, talking about the experience and what my thoughts are on both products. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that episode coming soon. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for listening, and I will catch you on the next episode.